Hey, this is Tim from AK Endless Sports Cards. Well, did the Victor Wembanyama Topps Now reveal? Was pretty pumped because I wanted to go through those 8 cards last night and pick out at least a couple to get graded at the National. And if you watched that video, it was an epic fail. I accidentally had ordered the variety pack, so I got one Victor Wembanyama, and I looked at it really close after finishing that video, and it's got a corner issue. So, well, what are you going to do? Shifting gears, not going to be able to get any of those graded at the National. Might look to trade that set, this upcoming weekend, which is actually the topic of this video, so at least part of it. So this video is about prepping for the Lansing show. It's upcoming this weekend. It's on July 22nd. And then also, while preparing for Lansing, keeping the National in mind, which is coming up, of course, next week. So it's basically a week from today. So as of time of recording, it's Wednesday. We got the National coming up next week already. So going to be doing some prep work for that in terms of Lansing this weekend, and then even beyond. So here we go. So I got some goals going into this weekend show in Lansing. So in the past, it's been a pretty decent show. I think the last time I went, it was 80 or 100 tables. My understanding is it could be slightly bigger, but that's about what we can expect. The wild card to this is that it's taking place so close to the National. That could be a really good thing. That could be a bad thing. I'm not going to know till Saturday. Could be a good thing in that you might have people that are going to the National that kind of want to unload some stuff or want to pick up higher quantities of things going into next week. So there's a couple possibilities. Now, as far as what I'm trying to do in my goals going into Saturday, I want to consolidate. So I brought quite a few cards down, a few boxes of cards down here, and I kind of want to consolidate, meaning I want to trade a quantity of cards for far fewer cards. For example, I brought some 86, 87 Fleer cards, all raw. I think a little over 100 of them. Mainly semi-stars and commons, but there's some other good stuff in there like checklist and things like that. I want to take all of those and trade into 1 or 2 cards. So I'm really looking to consolidate, those commons and semi-stars. They have value, and I'm not desperate to get rid of them. But if I have an opportunity where there's a dealer that wants to pick up those cards for inventory, because they range in price, they get anywhere from $3 to $10 a piece on eBay, maybe a little more when you talk about the checklist, but they have value. So if there's a dealer looking for some 86, 87 Fleer inventory, I'm going to be looking to move those in a trade if I can. I'm also going to be looking to trade up in general, whether they're PC cards or not. The idea there is, again, along that theme of consolidation, I want to take a couple of cards that, I'll give another example, that are worth, let's say, $150 to $250. I want to take a couple of those and move up into something worth like $350 or $400, maybe even $500 if I throw some cash in. But I want to move up because when I go to the National, I want to make sure I have the best trade chips possible so that I can trade into even bigger cards. So when you're looking to trade into like a Gretzky or like a Jordan sticker or second-year Jordan or whatever the case may be, you want to have trade chips that are as big as possible of desirable cards. So that's something to think about. So I'm going to be looking to do that. Next piece that I've been thinking of is I would like to potentially pick up some PC cards at this Lansing show as well. So here's the story. I have experience in not doing this. And so oftentimes people think like, well, I'm going to this show, but it's so close to the National. I don't want to spend a lot of money. I don't really want to spend trade a whole lot or anything like that because I'm going to the National. I want to have everything with me. here's a story for you. So 8 or 10 years ago, I was on a vacation. I was in Missouri, and I went to a card shop there, and the card shop owner had just purchased a fairly large collection, and he does mainly baseball and football. The collection was mainly basketball, which is right up my alley, and he had a lot of good stuff. Graded Kevin Durant rookies just were the first thing that caught my eye. He also had a Topps Chrome Black number to 500 Dwayne Wade rookie, and he only wanted $50 for that Wade. It was raw, it was off-centered, but it's still a killer deal. It was a good deal back then. The Kevin Durants, I think, they were all graded. They were all BGS 9.5s. I think they were like Bowman Sterling or something like that. They were all nice cards. I think he wanted like $40 a pop. I ended up buying a Leaf Magic Johnson 101 printing plate autograph for like $50, and I ended up getting an SP game used Kevin Durant PSA 10 for like $50. So those are great cards, and I still have them. But I passed on the rest, and I could have bought, I probably could have done the art of the bundle and probably could have bought all of them at a nice discount, but I didn't. And the reason why I didn't was because the National was coming up very, very shortly. And so I regret that, because even back then, the deal on a Dwayne Wade was a good deal. The Durants were about market price, but again, I probably could have bundled some together and got a discount on that. And I absolutely regret that, because, if you have a good opportunity, even if it's close to the National, I'd take advantage of it, and I'd go ahead and pick up those cards. I regret not buying more there, and so I'm not going to make that mistake this weekend in Lansing if I see stuff that I like. If I'm not going to go there and just, blow a ton of money just to buy stuff. But if there's good deals and if there's stuff that I really want to pick up, I'm not going to hesitate to do that. So then you got to kind of think about, okay, well, the National's coming up in a week. It's even closer to that. It's going to be about 5 days from the show this weekend. So how much money do you bring? You don't want to blow your whole National budget, right? Just in case, because you don't want to be in a position where you go to the National and you have to trade stuff or you have to sell stuff. I don't want to do that. I'm planning on taking about a quarter of my budget with me. So let's say roughly about, $400 or $500. That's enough with the amount of stuff that I have with me that I can trade. That's enough to get a lot of different cards. So that's kind of my plan. I want to have a good chunk left to the National regardless, but I'm not going to make the same mistake on passing on just about everything again, just because it's so close to the show. So that's kind of my thoughts there. Moving on. I have no problem with trying to, I kind of mentioned this earlier, but I have no problem with trying to trade up into cards that I have no interest in for my PC. As long as they're cards of desirable players that I know I can trade at the National. So in this type of a situation where the show's so close, if I can move into a $400 or $500 card that I don't even really want for my collection, but I know that I can trade it at the National, I'll go ahead and do that. It's close enough to the show where if it's of a popular player that I just don't collect, I'll do that. I'm not a big Brady collector, but for example, would I trade into a Brady card that I know is going to be a super popular card at the National? Absolutely. Even though I don't really collect them. That's an absolute for me. I would definitely do that. So that's something that I'm going to be considering as well. Types of cards that I'm going to be looking to move up into at the National. I've talked about a couple of these already, so I'll just mention them real quick. Stuff like a Gretzky rookie, preferably Topps, maybe an O-Pee-Chee if it looks decent, I guess. A a nice Patrick Mahomes. The Mahomes card that I have my eye on, that I've been thinking about for a while, is the Optic Hollow rookie in like a 9. I like that card. I really like Optic Hollows. So I'd consider something like that. A second year Jordan. PSA 8's a little cheaper. It's about $500. PSA 9 preferably. That's more like $1,500 or more. Walter Payton rookie. I definitely look into something like that. Maybe like a Jerry Rice in an 8.5 or a 9. All those types of things I'd be interested in trading up into. So, things that I've been thinking about as I'm getting ready for the show. So that's basically all for today. Like I said, I'll be at the Lansing show on Saturday. I do plan to video there. I don't really tend to see many people, if any, videoing at that show, and it's a good one. So I do plan to do some video there. Might be able to talk to a couple people, ask them some questions, we'll see, but video for sure. So looking forward to that. So I hope everybody's week is off to a great start here. And remember that the opportunities for collecting sports cards are endless.